you talk about what you've seen out of the tight ends, guys like Evan and Johnny? They're younger guys, but they're going to have to play a bigger role this season. What have you seen from them so far this spring?
Not enough improvement, but improvement. You know, they've gotten better. Particularly Evan at the line of scrimmage has gotten a lot better. Johnny's just kind of a little bit more comfortable with everything and confident in everything he's doing. And then he just needs to cut it loose. You know, he's not the fastest guy in the world, and when you have a little hesitancy combined with that, we just have to play faster. And so just a combination of those things. But them and Farrow and a couple other guys, you know, we expect big things out of that position.
So talking to Sam, getting used to Sam Camp playing with the added weight that he put on, and obviously stepping into potentially a prominent role this year. What have you seen out of him this spring, and how do you think he's handling the 30 extra pounds he has on him?
Okay, you know, yeah, he definitely needs to learn how to carry it on a football field and find that sweet spot weight-wise, like all of us. But he's done some good things. You know, I think all those guys, TJ Daniel really jumped out in the scrimmage, did some really good things on film. We gave, you know, those kind of what everyone considered second-tier guys a ton of reps, and those guys really made the most of it. But Sam is another guy who I think he's just never been 100% healthy, and he's close. He's as close as to that he's been his entire career. So hopefully that will continue to provide some confidence.
A lot of those guys speak with such an affinity of Coach Azanaro and think of him as a father figure, and so it seemed like that was a pretty big blow for them to. And I don't mean that disparagingly towards Coach Aiken, but that adjustment period, does that feel a little different now, having a year under their belt with Coach Aiken?
Definitely, yeah, and Az is awesome. Yeah, I mean, we are the only staff in the world to lose Az and get Matt Lubick and get weirder. But you guys, no one's really cracked the code on Lubick yet. You guys have to dig deeper.
What about the itsy bitsy spider in fall camp?
I can't confirm or deny that either. But no, he. Yeah, I think personalities. I mean, Az is a big personality, and you know, love that guy to death. And the same with Ron. But he's different. You know, he's a different guy, just as we all are. And those guys learning to work together, learn to kind of speak the same language. But yeah, there's obviously an adjustment period to something like that.
Are you starting to see any separation out of your backup quarterbacks yet? I mean, I know last time we talked you weren't. So
yes and no. You know, again, it's. Those guys did some good things in the scrimmage. Also, a couple things that they would definitely like to have back. You know, Jeff probably made a few more plays than Jake did overall. Taylor Ailey also had a really good scrimmage, but not enough yet. Yeah.
Today marks kind of about the halfway point. I mean, 7 of the 14. Is this sort of when you talk about kind of throwing everything at him from the beginning? Now do you kind of refine, or does today mark kind of a change in things after the halfway point?
We've got a couple more days, you know, just with all the guys, a couple of the nicks and dings in various spots. We've throttled back a little bit on the installation, but there's really kind of 2 core packages on both sides of the ball yet to come. So it's close, but yeah, I mean, I think we're over, you know, hopefully over the hump just from a getting back going type of standpoint of playing football rather than just lifting and running and doing the things that those guys did on their own. But I think, you know, the absorption rate has been okay. You know, I think it's just a matter of you know, when you're down a few guys, you're going to reduce your reps and therefore not getting as many, you know, at each thing. And so we've just recalibrated that a little bit, which you do every year. So it's kind of normal business as usual.
Does it normally then ramp up a little at the end because guys have been going at it rather than, you know, when you've coming off from a few months, it takes a little while to get geared up?
What ramps up at the end?
Just kind of the
performance?
Performance or intensity, or kind of once they've been doing it for a little while, you expect to see maybe more over the last 7 than the first 7?
There's usually kind of a little natural surge in every phase of, you know, okay, I remember this, but we haven't really done this full speed but on our own, and then the new things that we're doing in every phase. Okay, you know, I get that, and now you just play. And so there's usually a little surge in kind of confidence and hopefully performance, but then both sides are operating at a level of confidence, and so it's, you know, can turn into a wash. Which is good. You know, it's good, and that's what you want. You don't want total domination in any phase, but happy with where that is. I mean, obviously not exactly where we'd want to be, but you never are.
Yeah.
Tony Washington.
Is there going to be another scrimmage this week? Or how do you kind of plan
next week, yeah.
BJ Kelly's a guy who's kind of labeled as having potential the last couple years, and now that you're looking for a wide receiver to step up, what's it going to take from him to go from potential to actual real?
It's a $1 billion question right there. Yeah, that's in his particular case, consistency. You know, he's a guy with obviously incredible natural ability from a speed standpoint. Watch out for the bug attack. And just putting it all together. You know, play after play after play. If I'm lining up, if I'm blocking, if I'm, you know, whatever my assignment is, I'm locked in and rolling. Because at times he looked great. You know, the other day he had a big play at the end of the scrimmage to score a touchdown, and we had about 5 other ones that either were assignment errors or misalignments or busts or just things that can't happen. You know, so just that consistency that you know, count on me type of guy. That's, if he could turn into that, it would be huge.
So you could see him kind of go into that role if he could get that consistency down.
Theoretically, yeah.
Tony Washington was saying that he didn't want his role. He didn't think his role was much different than it was this time last year. But do you almost need a guy like that who's, you know, with so many new guys stepping in defense to kind of take over more of that leadership role?
Yeah, Tony's always been a good in that way. I think the thing with him now is his level of play is so much higher, and his consistency is so much better. You know, he was a guy that did really well and worked really hard, but not every single snap. And now that's he's been very consistent in his effort and his performance, and his credibility is just off the charts on the team and within his peers. He could go up to any guy and ask him to do something, they do it, you know, or give better effort or do this differently, you know, whatever it is, a la Marcus or Ifo or Hronis in that role. And yeah, that's big. The more you guys have singing that same tune and backing it up on the field, the better.
Marcus said he tried to throw 3 or 4 times a week in the winter with his receivers, do some 7-on-7 on the weekend. Is that anything new for him? Do you feel like he's more comfortable leading those activities at all?
I think his leadership definitely is better and different. Those guys have done that, I think, every year since they invented 7-on-7, back in the Loper days. But yeah, they've been doing that for a long time, and I think him being more gregarious, or whatever the right word is, he is much more comfortable in that role and has done a great job.
You talked last year how sometimes you had to prod him to open up a little more. Is that something again this offseason to say, take next step, or he's fine with doing that?
He's been awesome. His only thing that I always get him on now is just his body language. You know, he is so smooth and confident and cool, and that it's not that easy for everybody else. And you know, when you get the second or third string tailback kind of cruising and coasting, that's when, you know, you need to kind of reassert yourself as a sense of urgency type of pace setter. And so from that standpoint, he's done a lot better. He can still just his general. You can't be that smooth on the football field and get everybody's attention, which is again a great problem.
Coach Eric Dargan said it seems like every day in practice he's getting 1 interception. I don't know if he's bragging or what, but can you speak?
That's in ball drills, I think.
What you've seen out of his secondary so far this spring?
He just brought that up out of nowhere.
I asked him. He said he was doing a good job. He felt like he's a receiver out there.
You said Jeff thinks
right up until that point, I would have said yes, he's doing a good job. No, he's practicing well, you know, and on the football field he's been really smart and doing a good job as a leader, getting some of those young guys lined up and rolling. And he's made a ton of plays. You know, he's one of those guys that he doesn't always look the part. You know, he might want a guy a little bit faster, a little bit taller, a little bit whatever, but he makes a ton of plays.
So Eric, on the opposite side of the spectrum of Marcus, talks too much?
Not quite, but probably, yeah.